You've likely felt the whiplash by now. The headlines keep suggesting that Southern Ontario real estate prices are falling, yet every time you put in an offer, you find yourself locked out in a fierce bidding war. This July data shows where that narrative comes from. The average sale price dropped 4.5%. On paper, the market is in retreat. But fixating on that single macro-level average masks the reality on the ground, hiding the competitive conditions you actually face. This data anomaly comes down to transaction mix. When fewer luxury estates sell in a given month, the regional average price drops automatically. It pulls the math down, but everyday homes you are looking at haven't gotten any cheaper. Relying on top-line averages is a trap. To understand your true buying power, we must look past headlines and measure localized supply. The real market tension comes from sellers. New listings are plummeting. We're seeing a 17.8% drop in fresh inventory. Sellers are refusing to list their properties below previous peak pricing expectations. They are pulling back and holding on to their homes. Compare that drop in listings against buyer activity. Overall sales only dipped by a fraction of a percent, down just 0.9% year over year. Buyers are still active and ready to move. When you have nearly the same number of buyers fighting over a drastically shrinking pool of houses, you get a supply squeeze. That is why those bidding wars haven't disappeared. Waiting for a market crash is a failing strategy. This plummeting supply is setting the stage for future prices to stabilize, not collapse. To find actual leverage, we have to evaluate the micro markets using months of inventory. This regional breakdown chart shows that leverage is entirely dictated by geographic location. Durham Region currently sits at just 3.4 months of inventory. It is the ultimate meter squeeze. The trade-off in Durham is clear. You get proximity to Toronto, but you surrender your negotiating power. If you want a well-priced family home here, you are going to face fierce competition. Contrast that with the value hunters grid in York and Peel. Those regions sit at a comfortable 5 months of inventory. Higher inventory levels translate directly into buyer advantage. You get greater selection, properties sit longer, and you have room to negotiate below asking. If you want a deal in this market, you have to trade the convenience of the highest demand commuter belts for the strategic leverage available in these higher inventory zones. Finding leverage also requires choosing the right asset class, because the supply squeeze is hitting different housing types differently. Townhouses are the most price-resilient category in the GTA. They are holding value better than any other type, down just 1.5%. The trade-off is future resale competition. When selling, you'll compete against nearly identical units in those newer development blocks. Compare that to semi-detached homes. They have experienced the sharpest price declines of any housing type, dropping 6.7% year over year. That drop is your hidden opportunity. Statistically, the semi-detached market offers the best probability of finding sellers adjusting their expectations to current market realities. Be careful with the condo market. While they offer the lowest entry price, buyers must rigorously calculate exposure to rising maintenance fees and reserve fund risks before committing. Flexibility in what you are willing to buy, specifically targeting underperforming categories like semi-detached homes, is just as important as where you buy. Success means applying these variables to your specific profile. Let's map out your primary goal. Upsizing families seeking space should target Cambridge over Waterloo, or consider Newmarket for larger homes below luxury tags. Investors must abandon broad narratives. Don't buy Waterloo solely because it's a tech hub. Investors must rely on localized underwriting. That means focusing exclusively on real-time rent assumptions, strict condo fee reviews, and exit liquidity. Whether you are raising a family or seeking yield, making a smart purchase requires ignoring regional prestige in favor of hard, local data. Finally, we have to look at the budget-conscious first-time buyer, who faces the most constraints in this market. Avoid looking at turnkey, detached homes in low-inventory commuter zones. Bidding wars will immediately price you out. Instead, target specific entry points. The Durham Region data highlights Oshawa and selected parts of Clarington as viable strongholds for lower entry prices. Looking ahead to the fall, the setup is clear. If buyers remain active while sellers continue to withhold inventory, the market will only become more aggressive. Southern Ontario's market is fracturing into divergent regional realities. The window of opportunity belongs to those who stop waiting for top-level headlines to change and start executing a hyper-local strategy today.